speak next because he's also, just like Rebecca, she's got to go to a meeting, and Tom does as well, but he's going to update us on his stuff.
Real quick update, HR 46 is what we're talking about, which is a state constitutional amendment to allow independent school systems to form. For those of you who haven't heard it before, what it does, basically, decades ago, when the state was dominated by counties, they put a cap on the number of school systems you could have. So we have 159 county school systems and 21 city school systems, the older cities like Marietta, Decatur, that were grandfathered in. I don't think they anticipated, particularly in the larger urban counties, the student populations that we have. 1 in 10 kids in Georgia goes to a Gwinnett County school. So with that in mind, it's a big push outside the metro area because school boards and hospitals are the single largest employers in a lot of rural counties. So a lot of legislators are loath to touch that because they have husbands, wives, sons, daughters that work in the school system, so they're not going to do that. So what we've done with this, when Mike and I wrote the bill, basically, it narrows it to cities that have incorporated since 2005.
And tell us who, Mike Jacobs.
Jacobs, okay. And the other sponsors, we've got 2 from DeKalb. I'm the lead sponsor, and Mike Jacobs is the co. From Fulton, because Fulton's a big part of this with the new cities up there. We've got Joe Wilkinson from Sandy Springs and Lynn Riley from Johns Creek. And then from Gwinnett, because they do have Peachtree Corners, I've got Mike Dudgeon, who's one of the smartest guys in education that I know, as well as Buzz Brockway. So we've got 6 of us that are sponsoring it. Basically, it would come down to about 5 or 6 cities, and there's no requirement for these folks to do this. It just gives the ability, which would be Sandy Springs, Johns Creek, Milton, Chattahoochee Hill Country, Dunwoody, Brookhaven, possibly Peachtree Corners, but I don't know that they'd be interested, but they're certainly supportive of the effort here. So what this is going to do is, we've had 1 hearing on it so far. We'll take this up early in January. This session, because of the feds moving the primary dates back, is going to fly by. So we're going to hit the ground running. Basically, we're going to go into session January 13th, which is the next to the last day, the latest day we could start by the Constitution. So this is going to be kind of a rocket process. So what we're trying to do is we've commissioned a study with Kelly McCutcheon from the Georgia Public Policy Institute and Christina Reese, who's a professor of economics at Georgia Tech. We should be getting those results back very soon. This coming Sunday at 7:30, Dunwoody Homeowners Association, I'll be briefing folks on that. That's at 7:30 at Dunwoody Library School Center there. So as we move forward, keep in pace with this, I think what it distills down to, again, is, and I think Paige summed it up the best, is, where do you get with an independent school system? We have about 7,000 kids in a Dunwoody system. If we were to, the bill also allows systems to combine across county lines, so you could have any permutation of Dunwoody, Sandy Springs, Dunwoody, Brookhaven, as well as any cities that immediately adjoin them. So you could have Chamblee, Doraville, something like that in the mix. So there's a lot of different permutations you can have of that. High hurdle, 120 votes in the House, 2/3 majority in the Senate. Then it goes to statewide referendum. So not underselling how tough this is going to be. The cities were tough. If the cities were a 7 out of 10 on the scale, this is a 10 out of 10. But I think what it comes down to, and it really would have distilled down to me, Paige and I had a conversation last week, was in a local system like this, say, and I'm just going to use Dunwoody as an example, as a hypothetical. If we had a Dunwoody school system, there's no place to hide the bodies. These folks in DeKalb County, you've got places to hide bodies in the central office, in IT, in maintenance, and things like that. If you looked at it, a local school system, you would have, a dozen people maybe at a central office, and everything else would be located at the schools. So it's totally transparent. I was at the DCPC last week, and they said, okay, we have all Michael Thurman's, or a couple weeks ago, we have all Michael Thurman's and the staffers that are here from DeKalb County stand up, and half the audience was staff. And I said, how many meetings do you have like this, and what the hell do these people do the rest of the time? So we're pushing it forward. I do have to run to a meeting, but Paige is going to take Q&A. But again, if you want a full briefing on this, Dunwoody Homeowners Association, this Sunday, 7:30 at Dunwoody Library.
And we'll communicate that out as well, so everybody. And it's HR 486.
HR 486. If you go to the legislative website, you just Google Georgia General Assembly, and it'll have a little slot where you can search by bill number, and it's HR 486. And that's, you can read the bill, and we're definitely pushing forward on that.
Well, I know I speak for everyone I know and talk to you. Thank you for having the courage to write the bill and be our point person, the tip of the spear. It's a huge hurdle, like you said. I think it's an 11 out of 10. I mean, it really is. It's just a big thing. And so we can't let you down in this room. If that's going to happen, you need us lobbying on behalf of your bill. And so we definitely have to come together as a community and do that.
And as Melvin said the last meeting we had here, form emails don't work. You just get. I mean, we need boots on the ground down at committee hearings.
That's right.
He
needs to be there.
Yeah. The two other things that I want to mention with this is, I don't know if you saw last night, late breaking news. The board is looking at renewing or extending Michael Thurman's contract, which is interesting. The other side of that is what really motivated me to do this was when the governor removed the school board, and they had to remove Nancy. I don't lump you into that group.
Our Pam.
But
Our Pam.
Pam, sorry, but out of 23 members of the DeKalb delegation, only 6 of us stood with the governor in supporting that. And what that tells me is the rest of the members out of the 17 out of 23 were fine with the status quo, which is failing, which is totally unacceptable. And that's the motivation behind this.
Yeah, and that's congruent with my belief that we don't really have a school system in DeKalb. We have an employment agency and a construction firm, and we call it a school system. And that's not unique for counties in this state. That happens across the district. And so that's why you're seeing the organic movements like independent school districts, like charter schools, because people want to have a meaningful, relevant, high-quality education for their children that they're participating in. And those options within the paradigm of these large school districts that lose touch with what their mission is, it's not happening for them. So that's why we're seeing these movements. So I salute you for your efforts, and I know I will be down at the Capitol and organizing people to come to the Capitol.
And I really think the bellwether to watch in this is the Druid Hills Charter Cluster.
I believe so too, yes.
Because my thought is, and I'm not being pessimistic here, you're not going to see that pass with all its teeth in. Because if they do, there's going to be an avalanche of applications that have opened the floodgates. So I think that's going to be the bellwether to watch and see what happens there down the line.
I agree, and I think that we all need to, show our support for the Druid Hills community and what they're trying to do. I certainly do. I think they've got enough to fight too. It's a 10 out of 10. But I read the tea leaves too with the politics, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but I certainly support them, and I'll be down there as well.
Excuse me. The issue with the Druid Hills thing is if it's not passed what I call intact. There's no appeal. There's no appeal to the state. That's it. It's done.
They don't get to go to the commission like others would. The cluster idea stops at the school board. And if the two things to look for are, and we've got Andrew Lewis here, and he'll talk in a minute about it specifically with Georgia Charter Schools Association. And he'll give you all the details. But HR control who's in your building, who teaches, what they teach, and the money. So if you don't control the personnel and the money, then it's not really a charter, in my opinion. People call a lot of different things a charter, and we can talk about that too when Andrew talks. But to me, you have to have control of those two things to be a real charter. And so if the cluster fails on those two accounts, it can be called a charter, but that's the T. And so we'll see what happens. So. Anything else?
Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you so much for your hard work. We know that you'll be working hard on our behalf on January 13th, starting January 13th.
We'll be there.
Actually, starting before that, but that's
Yes,
every single day between now and then,
So
And the barbecue is the day before, right?
Oh, the barbecue thing. Yeah.
Skip it,
Yeah.
Pork, lipids, or beer.
There you go. Well, we appreciate it, and if there's anything I can communicate to people, you just let me know.
And we'll be ramping this up. Like I said, we're about to get the study in hand. Don't want to release anything prematurely, but it's well in line with what we imagined.
Okay.
So we'll be hitting that on Sunday at 7:30.
Well, that's exciting. Thank you so much, Tom. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.